All right. In this video, we're going to be talking about the long-term rental landlord sales script. So this is the script you're going to use when you have a sales pitch on Zoom, on the phone, or even in person potentially, when you are talking to somebody that you're trying to convert from a long-term rental to a short or midterm rental. So how this conversation is going to go is essentially like this. All right. So assuming you've already talked to them before, from either calling them, texting them, maybe you met this person at a meetup, however you found this person, when you're on the sales call, you're going to go ahead and open it up with a line like this. Hey, Joe, how you doing? So great to chat with you face to face, over the phone, on Zoom, whatever it is. Okay, pretty much just like a warm introduction, nothing crazy. And then going down, we're going to go to this piece right here. This is where you're going to be laying out how this call is going to go. So you're going to say, okay, so typically how these calls go is I'm going to spend some time learning more about you, your property, your goals. Then I'll open it up for you to ask questions about myself. My entire goal for this call is for you to walk away with value, whether that's knowing how I can help you turn your property into a short-term rental or mid-term rental, or if after we talk, I realize that we're not a good fit to work together, I'd be happy to refer you elsewhere to someone who might be able to serve you better, or I'll at least give you insight to help you out. Sound good? And they're going to say, all right, that sounds perfect. Let's go. So this is the discovery piece that we're going to jump into next. This is where essentially you are uncovering details about their property so that you can get a better understanding of their current situation. If you don't know exactly where they're at right now, it's impossible to help them go where you want them to potentially go, which is short-term or long-term rental. So what we're going to do here is go through a discovery phase, again, learning more about them, their property, and their situation. So we're going to start it off kind of open-ended, because usually if we leave it more open-ended, they tend to just talk more. So we're going to say something like, so first off, tell me a little bit more about your property on 123 Main Street. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be taking some notes. So just be sure you take some notes while they're talking so you can write everything down. You don't have to memorize everything. And the whole goal here is for them to just talk about their property. Okay. And just for you to gather information. Other questions to ask and things that you're really looking for. Number one, how long have you owned this property for? How has your experience been with this property? Do you own other properties in this area too? Do you self-manage the property, or do you have a management company? Do you own this property alone, or do you own it with a partner? And have you been able to get this property rented out at X dollars per month, whatever they're renting it for on Zillow, Trulia, or whatever? So these are some questions that we're trying to get out of them. And the way that we're going to ask these questions is really based on, we're not going to go like, all right, so question number one for you, how long have you owned this property? Question number two, it's going to be a very natural flow. So first, tell me a little bit more about your property on 123 Main Street. Oh, well, I've owned this property for a couple of years now and bought it, 4 years ago, And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, gotcha. So let's just say they've already answered how long they've owned this property for. Okay, gotcha. And how has your experience been with the property, by the way? Oh, it's been pretty good. So these are just kind of guiding questions for you to gather information about their current situation. And when they mention pain points, that's when you're going to want to jot those down, especially. So for example, do you self-manage the property, or do you have a management company that's been running it for you? Oh, well, I have a management company, but I'm not really liking them that much. Oh, gotcha. Why don't you really like them? What don't you like about them? So these are kind of starter questions, but don't be afraid to ask follow-up questions. Okay. Ask follow-up questions. All right. So that's that piece. Next piece, once you gather information about them, you understand their situation in depth. What we're going to go to next is their goal and dream scenario. This is really where we're going to be seeing, okay, is short-term or midterm rental even the right strategy for them? Because it's not going to be a good fit for everybody, especially these long-term rental landlords where people have different risk tolerances. It might not be a good fit. So this is where we're going to kind of figure that out by asking them about their dream scenario and goals. All right. So once you get a good understanding up here, and you've asked these questions. Okay, gotcha. So tell me, in the perfect world, what's ultimately the goal for your real estate business, and really what's the dream scenario? So you're going to be able to gather information up here as far as like how many properties they have. They're going to start to spill some beans about their portfolio and stuff. So this is where we're going to really say like, hey, what's like your ultimate dream and goal with your real estate business? Where are you looking to ultimately take it? Okay. And they might say, hey, this is my first one. I'm looking to buy 5 more. They might say, I already have 10. I'm looking to buy 1 more. It's going to be all over the board. But ultimately we're going to ask them their dream scenario. And then here are some more follow-up questions we're going to ask them. Like, do you have a revenue goal that you're looking to hit with your property or portfolio? If you could double or triple the revenue of your property using a midterm rental strategy or short-term rental strategy, would you be opposed to that? Like, no, I'm open to it as long as it all makes sense. Okay, cool. So they're open to it. If you could double or triple the revenue of your property using a midterm rental strategy or short-term rental, how would that change the trajectory of your real estate business, life, or goals? Okay, so we're getting a little bit deeper on this last one. But if they say, hey, I'm looking to make $20,000 with my real estate portfolio per month, and they're at, let's just say, $10,000 per month, and all that they need to get from 10 to 20 is doubling the revenue, and they can do so using the short-term, midterm rental strategy. So, if you could just double your revenue right now, just using the midterm rental, the short-term rental strategy, how would that change the trajectory of your real estate business or life or your goals? Wow. I mean, if I could just take what I have and just double it, I mean, yeah, that'd be awesome. So again, just getting deeper of where they're at, seeing if you can actually help them, and if they're open to the strategy. And then ultimately the transition. Okay, Joe, so basically what you told me so far, based on what you told me so far, I think we can definitely help you. And then again, draw parallels between their dream scenario and your co-hosting service. And then only if it's actually true. So for example, if you already if you've already done this for an owner before, here you could say something like, I've actually helped another owner do basically the same thing that we're talking about in this city or that city. So you can kind of just talk about what you've done. If you've done anything in the past, here's where you can actually talk about it. If you haven't done anything in the past with Airbnbs just yet, this is your first one, then don't worry about saying anything here yet. But if you already have an Airbnb, even if you haven't converted someone from a long-term rental to a short-term rental, because they gotcha, I've actually helped, X, Y, and Z person earn X amount from their property, where as a long-term rental, it would only be rented out for this much, but as a short-term rental, we're getting this much. So this is kind of just where you kind of use some of your experience here. And then you can go into, okay, cool. So just to tell you a bit about me, I actually grew up in X city and obviously know the area super well. So this is again where you're just drawing a connection to their city. Even if you didn't grow up there, just draw some connection so they feel like you know the area. My full-time career was, let's just say, teaching, but I just found a passion for short-term, midterm rentals because X, Y, and Z, whatever your reason is. And then you're going to go into, there's a ton of differences between operating a short-term rental versus a long-term rental. So this is essentially what we provide as our co-hosting service. So we deliver a 100% hands-off experience for you, meaning we handle the guest communication, the pricing, coordinating with our cleaners, our handymen, and everything in between. And at the end of every month, I'll even send you what we call an owner's report that breaks down the revenue and expenses. And then again, if they're using a management company for their long-term rental, you can add this in too. So essentially, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as your long-term rental management company is doing for you now. Only this strategy will make you more money. So letting them know, since they already have long-term rental experience, hey, listen, it's basically the same thing you're doing now. This is just more money. And then a couple of key things I wanted to touch on as well. So, and then again, this is where you can hit on either key things that they mentioned in the discovery phase that stick out to you, or here are just some extra things that will most likely stick out to you. If they don't already have furniture in their property, and you could know this from just seeing pictures, or in this phase, you can ask them, but you're gonna let them know there is an upfront investment to get your property furnished. So do you already have furniture that you'd want to use, or will you be buying everything from the start? And then you might say, most likely they're not going to have any furniture. And you can just say, okay, gotcha, and then move on to the next thing. Or if they want to know, okay, so how much will it cost to furnish my unit? just a rule of thumb is to take their square footage. So if their property is 1,000 square feet, multiply it by 12, and that'll be $12,000. This is a really rough average, so make sure you let them know that this is just an estimate. But if they have a 2,000 square foot house, multiply it by 12, and it'll be 24,000. Usually it'll be a little bit less, so let them know that this is just a conservative estimate, but that is a decent estimate for furniture. Okay. Another thing to touch on is that they get all the listings at the, or they get all the payouts at the end of the month. So you can let them know that all the money is going to go to them, and then you get your cut at the end, opposite of how their property manager probably does it. The listing will stay in their name, so you can explain that, listen, this is your listing, you own the listing. If for whatever reason we split paths down the road, the listing continues under your name, and you keep all of the 5-star reviews we get. Another thing to touch on is that we don't have any long-term contracts. Our goal is for you to be happy, so we don't hold you hostage. We're so confident in our service that we're totally not worried about it. We just want to make you as comfortable as possible because we're comfortable with the service we're providing. And then only say this part if they're in a vacation market. You can say, hey, I'm not a big corporation. If you want to stay at the property for a week, you can just shoot me a text and we'll make it happen. So let them know that they have the option to stay at their own property. Again, if this is not really a great vacation market, this isn't something you need to touch on right away. Okay. So then you can transition here. So Joe, how does this sound to you? Okay. Let them talk. And they might say, yeah, no, it sounds pretty good. It sounds decent. Okay, gotcha. Awesome. So what questions do you have for me? And they're always going to have some questions. So here are some questions slash objections that they might have. We already touched on this furniture one. How much will the furniture cost? If they say, wow, that's a lot of money to spend on furniture, where you can talk about this is, hey, I totally hear you on that. But if you think about it, you'll be able to bring in 2 to 3 times more revenue year over year with just a $10,000 investment, just a $15,000 furniture investment. So make them see the numbers here. And again, we talked about before in a previous video how to actually find how much money their property is going to bring. If you already have a property in the area, again, you can leverage that for sure. Another objection with these long-term rental folks is, what if the property gets damaged? What if the guest damages the property? And then here's what you could say. The best part about doing a short-term or midterm rental is that we get insurance for any guest damage. For example, if a guest punches a hole in the wall, breaks the couch, stains the floor, that'll be fully covered by the insurance instead of you. So really the insurance protection is really awesome when it comes to short-term rentals. As far as you can kind of draw the parallel to long-term rentals where they only have a security deposit of, let's just say $500. If they do an extra damage, it's kind of a pain in the butt to chase them for it. Whereas short-term rentals, we have insurance. So no matter what it is, we get to charge them for it and collect the money. Another objection, 20% is way too high. I mean, I'm typically paying my management company 8% for a long-term rental. And then here's where I'll say, totally hear what you're saying and understand that 20% is a big number. But to be honest with you, this is a big responsibility. And there's, of course, a lot of work involved. If you're looking for a discount Walmart version of Coast & Company, that's honestly just not me. But if you're looking for someone that you can have 100% confidence in to make sure that your property is taken care of and have someone you can sleep well at night, knowing that you've got covered and your money, etc., then we'd be a great fit. So here's where not only say, like, I know this is a lot of money, but another thing to add in is we also bring in a lot more money than a long-term rental management company. Okay. And 20% is the standard for the industry. Okay. So you can let them know, hey, even though we're charging you more, we're going to bring you in a lot more money. And by the way, this is just standard for the industry. Okay. So that is the question there. And then once you handle all of the questions and objections, you can ask them, do you have any other questions for me? They're going to say yes or no. And then you're going to say, how are you feeling about moving forward with the next steps? Or about moving forward, excuse me. And then they're going to say, hey, I'm interested in, like, what would the next steps look like? Okay, cool. So Here's what the next steps would look like. I'm going to email you over the coaching agreement. Take a look through it. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email back. Or if you want to hop on another call, just let me know. Once you feel good about it, go ahead and sign it. And then we will begin our onboarding process, which consists of building the listing out, getting our pricing in place, getting professional photos, getting the property ready to go. Okay. And then ask them straight up, when do you plan on going through the agreement to get started? And they're going to say, oh, I have time today. I have time tomorrow. Okay, great. And then once you're done with the call, you'll hang up. They're going to read through the contract, and the deal's not done yet. Okay. You have to have consistent follow-up. If you get ghosted, don't take it personally. People are busy. Stay consistent. People respect that. Follow up via email or text, or whichever method you primarily have been communicating through. And if they don't answer after a few attempts, literally just call them. Here's an example of a follow-up sequence you can use. So let's just say Monday, you have a Zoom with them going over all the details, and you sent the agreement, and they said that they'd sign it on Tuesday. So Tuesday afternoon or evening, I'd text and email them, asking them if they've gotten a chance to check out the agreement yet. If you don't hear from them by Wednesday, I would just call them. Call them, say, hey, just touching base and seeing if you had any questions, or if you're just ready to rock and roll. And then Friday again, I'd text and call them one more time, again, touching base and seeing if you had any questions, or if you're ready to rock and roll. So this is the script to use when talking to long-term rental landlords. Again, use this as more of a guide. Don't go word for word, question by question. Make this conversation free-flowing. Your whole goal is, again, learn more about them, figure out if they're open to long-term and midterm rentals. If they are, explain to them how everything's going to go. And then, of course, closing the deal and handling their objections. Hope you guys got a ton of value out of this training, and looking forward to see you guys in the next one.